Today, we're going to be doing a deep dive into Jake Paul's brand RNBO. And we're going to find out what happened to the brand, alongside a ton of other mysteries. Oh my god. I'm going to buy this right now. This is actually insane.
It's Jake Paul! Jake Paul!
Today, we're going to be doing a deep dive into Jake Paul's brand RNBO. And we're going to find out what happened to the brand, alongside a ton of other mysteries. Okay, so I have decided to do hours and hours of research into RNBO and see what I can actually find out about this clothing line and clothing company. So I suppose we'll get into what sort of drops there were, how many drops, all that kind of general information. Let's take a look at the Instagram page and see what sort of comments are being left behind on the actual page itself. Okay, so we have a package, and it is from eBay, as you can see by all of the eBay branding on the packaging. And I thought, you know what is this huge package right here? Literally, look how huge this package is. So I opened this package beforehand. I admit you probably can't tell. It's definitely not obvious by all of the massive gaps in the tape and stuff, but I may have opened this prior to this, but only because I had literally no idea what this was. I've ordered a ton of stuff. I didn't really fully know what this was, but once I did, I decided to put it back into its box. Let's open this up for you guys right here on camera. Let's give you guys the best view of this right here. So as you can see, let's open this up. And as you can see, inside we have the RNBO t-shirt. You can see it's the t-shirt in medium. So yeah, this is going to be very, very interesting. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and set up my camera and actually get into this review. Bring it back. Bring it back. What happened? Is this shit dead? We want more RNBO merch soon. New drop soon? Question mark. Lol. Dead brand. What happened to RNBO? Jake just won the fight. I take it this isn't a thing anymore? Question mark. What happened to this brand? Flashback. He need release a new drop. wait. He need release a new drop. That literally doesn't make any sense. When's the new drop? It's been a year. Come back, RNBO. Yeah, so that was a bunch of the comments left on the latest posts on the RNBO Instagram page. The RNBO Instagram page is still up. It is a verified account still, and also still features the shop link, which doesn't go to any shop link really because the domain isn't in use anymore. I'm assuming that's because they literally just cancelled the subscription to whatever website provider they were using for this, hence the actual website link not linking to the actual website because it's not active anymore. So as you can see, this is the full profile of the RNBO, or the shop RNBO brand right here, and as you can see, they have 488,000 followers. They are the clothing brand which was created by Jake Paul and premiered, well, I say premiered like it's a film really, but announced and officially launched during his boxing match against Deji. Now, that was some years ago, and well, the brand has stopped producing products after a couple of drops and has basically gone completely silent. So that begs a lot of questions, you know, what happened to the brand? Because this was going to be a huge movement type clothing brand where you know, Jake took this very, very seriously. So we're going to talk about that in a second, but let's take a look at this right here. So it says, Rise and Be Original, created by Jake Paul. After every storm comes a RNBO. I guess it's supposed to be a play on Rainbow. Drop 6 out now, and then it has the shop link, which takes you nowhere, obviously. It has a profile picture right here, and the bio does seem definitely outdated. And of course, it is followed by Greg Paul 63. The most interesting thing is, though, that it isn't actually followed by Jake himself, which makes me think that he just gave up on the brand and unfollowed the account because it wasn't relevant to him anymore. There is a fair amount of mystery, and just it's a bit strange that Jake would launch this brand based behind of his newfound boxing career, and then after a couple of drops just cancel the brand out of nowhere without any warning. It just ceased to exist. So this is the first big promo picture, and as you can see, it was a big promo basically backed by the hype for the Jake Paul versus Deji fight. So as you can see, he is in the boxing attire and actually has RNBO boxing gloves on right here, because essentially there was so much advertising with this fight to do with RNBO, and he got quite a lot of different advertisements as well. For example, he actually got a tattoo of the brand name RNBO on his stomach, which obviously it means that, you know, if you're going to get a huge tattoo on yourself with this brand, it's got to mean a lot to you. So that kind of begs the question, why would it end out of nowhere? Why would it just cease to exist overnight? What happened to Rise and Be Original? I should probably abbreviate that. What happened to RNBO? Fucking hell. Okay, so this is my review of the Fight Night Collection t-shirt from RNBO. That light is migraine inducing, it's that bright, but entertainment. So the t-shirt came in this box. It wouldn't usually come in this box, it just came in this box because I bought it from eBay. These are literally so rare to the point where I've never ever seen in my entire life from 2018/2019 to now, I have not seen one of these t-shirts listed on eBay, and I thought, you know, I found one and I was planning to make a documentary series like this, so I thought, you know what, let's get one. Why don't we actually get one and review it for the docuseries? So here we are, and damn, this is actually quite insane. So, it has been opened before, but it's really not been worn. It's been opened and just kept and preserved, I'm guessing. So, it might have been worn once or something like that, but realistically, we have bought this as a collector's piece. I'm probably not going to wear this to, like, family gatherings and other stuff like that, so, yeah. So, coming out of the bag, as you can see, it has the original barcode sticker from the actual drop. So this is the original packaging it came into. So, and this right here itself is the t-shirt. So let's open this up right here. And yeah, so my first impressions is that this t-shirt definitely feels quite thin quality, but I don't think that these were massively expensive at launch. It definitely feels like a very thin, quite cheap quality material. Like, it's definitely not anything that screams like insane quality. It doesn't quite come to mind when I put this, but it's decent enough. It's, you know, definitely wearable, and you know, it's definitely like for merchandise, definitely like pretty standardly decent quality. As for like the actual tags and branding in that sort of sense, you can see right here that they have their own RNBO tags, which are, again, it's just something that's really cool and just really brings out the branding on it. As you can see, this is a size medium and they go all the way up to triple XL, which is pretty cool, I guess. And then on the front here you have your first print, which shows the same print right here. There is a very small nick on this part. Not like I can do much about it though, because this just happens to be one of the only ones, the only one I've ever seen for sale online, which is quite crazy, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, looking at the actual print itself here, you've got the rainbow, you've got the Rise and the original, and then you've got the RNBO Fire logo, which is layered over the top of each other. It's all pretty simple branding and nothing too crazy, but I think it does look really cool, and I definitely like it. It's got it's got Rise and the original right here. You've got the upside down rainbow right there, and then you've got this little piece on the bottom which says storms, then rainbows, cause but good beats evil. So yeah, very interesting, very cool little thing right here. And yeah, I generally, as designs go, I think it's a pretty nicely designed t-shirt. The quality is definitely interesting. I'll definitely be able to see this when I'm actually wearing it, because I feel like that's the best gauge of like quality on an item, is when you actually try it on. So that is definitely going to be something. It didn't have any like tags or anything with it, but I think it's pretty much just, you know, like your standard merchandise style. And then turning over onto the back for the actual back print side of things, this is the back print, and as you can see, it's got quite a lot going on as well. You've got RNBO at the top in this sort of like 8-bit style, which does look pretty cool. Then you've got a line, then you've got Rise, which is just repeated and blocked a load of times, and then you've got some like symbols right here, which they look like they could be like a Chinese or Japanese symbols, which again, pretty nice little addition. Then you've got the upside down rainbow here, and then you also have the 216 to 310 right here, which I don't really know what this means. If anybody knows in the comments down below what the actual significance of this is, then of course, you know, feel free to sound off in the comments down below. But yeah, as it goes, this is a pretty decent, likely designed t-shirt. I think the design is actually pretty cool on this, and definitely something that I would rock. Now let's actually try on this t-shirt and have a little look at what it actually feels like to wear this t-shirt. So let's go ahead and try on this t-shirt right now. Okay, so let's take a little look at what they ended up actually releasing in this brand. Let's have a look at the different clothing drops, the actual collections available on Instagram, and let's have a little look and see what kind of things were released, you know, for example, what type of collections they were, etc. So as you can see right here on the first post, you can see it said rise, 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 rise. A lot of rises. And then Rise and Be Original, Lightning Bolt, RNBO, Lightning Bolt. And it basically says out now, link in bio. And then the bit that gets my attention is that there is only 500 units. So this was a very limited drop, and I'm assuming that Jake Paul took after a lot of other clothing brands such as like Supreme, which do very like limited drops. I mean, admittedly not as limited as this. Like Supreme are not out here dropping 500 hoodies and that's kind of it. You know, they're dropping a lot more, but with Jake's idea, he wanted to make this a very, very exclusive brand so that only a handful of people could get their hands on each collection. So let's take a look at this first collection. The first main staple piece of this collection was the RNBO Hoodie 1 in this nice like white color with the text and stuff like that. This was the hoodie that was promoted on Fight Night and was a staple. And this hoodie could not just be a hoodie on its own, it had to come with a t-shirt which has a similar design. I think it's actually the exact same design but on the t-shirt, but without like all the prints and stuff because it's a short sleeve t-shirt. But nevertheless, it's looking very, very interesting. And again, this is just part of this same big collection again that was promoted on Fight Night. This must have sold out insanely quick. I can't lie. And from my recollection, I think it did it sold out like instantly, like people barely could get their hands on this, and yeah, it's kind of crazy. And what is a good collection without a cap? So they dropped a cap as well, and again, it's the same colorway, and that was that. So that was the first collection which got dropped. And funny enough, I found the t-shirt of this first collection which should be arriving, and I should be able to get this like I should be able to actually review this t-shirt for you guys. Swiftly moving on to drop number 2, which was the Storm Yellow collection. This collection basically was made up of 2 separate pieces, a t-shirt and a hoodie. I think they dropped the hat for this one and they just wanted a little bit more of a, you know, t-shirt and hoodie collection. And one thing to note about all of these collections is they are incredibly difficult to find online. I have been looking for these hoodies and t-shirts and accessories around on various different websites. I've literally searched multiple different websites to see, and I barely found any that I could review for these videos. So it is genuinely very, very difficult to find these pieces for resale. And if they are for real sale, sometimes people will just charge an extortionate amount of money just because of how limited edition these pieces were. So I'm actually very, very lucky that I managed to get that t-shirt because it was actually quite insane to find. So as you can see right here, you've got the back of this hoodie. It features a very, very interesting design right here. And yeah, very, very bold yellow colour. And then we got the back of the t-shirt right here as well, which does a really, really interesting collection. It does actually look pretty cool. I would have bought these at the time if I wasn't like younger in high school at this current time. I think I was in high school because it was like 2018, 2019. I think I was in high school, just finishing high school, and I had like no money. So yeah, I couldn't buy like RNBO Jake Paul merch until it came out my ears. Especially considering how expensive, how brutally expensive shipping is from the United States. And, you know, the extra £80 worth of import fees that they just shove on the top of your order. I've paid plenty of them in my life, and it's not fun. So yeah, they shoved these out with an announcement saying the Storm Yellow t-shirt is out right now, and that is basically the announcement that the Storm Yellow collection was out. So, what came next? Well, from what I could see, the collection which came out next was a light blue collection. And this is where they started really, really pushing out as much of the, just about as much as was possible with this sort of collection in itself. They did a full-on advert for this collection, which is actually still available on the RNBO YouTube channel. You can go ahead and check it out. It does have copyright music on it though, so I'm not going to risk, you know, getting this entire video demonetized by copyright. But if you want to go ahead, check it out, go ahead and check it out after this episode. I've never seen anybody, not even like one YouTuber, cover what happened to this clothing brand, which is kind of odd if you think about it, considering Jake literally has a tattoo on his body representing this clothing brand. Another thing which he did was he got a custom truck made, and by custom truck I mean he got it wrapped white and also got RNBO stenciled onto the bumper. I think it was onto the bumper. It's like on the front. It might have actually been the grill, like a custom RNBO grill on the front of this truck. And yeah, it did look pretty insane. Here it is right here. And again, this was from the advert. There is also, as you can see, a couple of different things that were released in this collection. You had couple of different bits, again keeping up with the boxing sort of theme, but they're throwing a couple of little lifestyle pieces in as well. You've got like a load of different pieces and chains and loads of cool stuff here. So yeah, that was like a bit of the advertisement. And they also did a big thing where they basically hired models. So as you can see right here, they have models actually modeling the clothing pieces as well. And they boldly advertised this with the softest, best designed and most powerful clothing in the game, and then put link in bio. But just around the corner was their next collection, the Storm Black collection. Here is a little look at one of the t-shirts from this collection. It's black, it's got white on it, and it's pretty simply designed, but it does have a kind of pretty nice design to it. This was released with the Storm Black collection, out now, only 300 units, which is actually quite crazy, I'm not gonna lie. They dropped 500 units to 300 units, particularly maybe so that they could get it sold out quicker to generate even more hype for the next collections, or simply because Jake wanted this to be more exclusive. And I can imagine that 300 units sold pretty quickly because, I mean, the guy is Jake Paul. He was pulling tens of millions of views at this point per video. So I could definitely see this selling out in like basically instantly. They also dropped a cap with this one as well. Very, very simple design. Again, I think they're going for a bit more of a basic look for this one. And they also dropped a hoodie as well, keeping with that very, very simple design on the front. And as well, with all of this, they dropped a advert, etc. As you can see, they had a bit of an interesting advert for this one, but as you can see, Jake actually featured in this advert, which is something you'll see going forward with the adverts, which wasn't present in the first advert, but something that you'll see reoccurring in the adverts. Jake sort of associated himself with this brand even more, and really pushed it into the idea of making this a really authentic brand. Up next came probably my favourite of the collections, the Storm Red collection, with a bold new advert and a bunch of new model pictures. The Storm Red collection was the biggest collection to date, and it was announced again with the Red Storm collection out now, limited units available. So it didn't say how many units in this one, but it says limited ones available. So again, they're very limited on the units. Here is another picture, again showing Jake participating in the actual advertising and promotion of this as well. So he didn't just promote this on his YouTube channel, but he was actively promoting it as well. So you had the joggers, you had the t-shirt, you had a cap, and you had a crew neck as well, like a jumper crew neck sort of thing. So here is the t-shirt right here. It looks quite simple right here, but you've got like a nice little paragraph right here, and then you've got our Rise of the Original upside down, and the little upside down rainbow, which I think is quite an interesting design. But then you also have the joggers here as well as sweatpants, and then you've got the design right here as well. So yeah, very cool collection. The red was definitely a good choice by them to drop as a collection as well. Okay, so let's get my final thoughts on this actual t-shirt. So first of all, this is definitely a pretty tight fit t-shirt. I wouldn't say it's like too tight fitting like some of the other merchandise brands I've had before, but I'd definitely say that it doesn't offer any sort of like, you know, oversized or baggy fit. This is definitely a 2-size fit to the actual t-shirt, and as far as the quality goes, it's not really insane quality. It does feel fairly cheaply manufactured, but nevertheless it is still quite a nice comfortable t-shirt. I definitely wear this, and I mean, I wasn't really planning on wearing it. I was just basically planning on buying it for this whole review video, and that's kind of being it. But yeah, I definitely rock this this t-shirt, and yeah, I don't think it's a bad t-shirt. I think the design's really cool on it. I think it's got a unique style and design to it. And realistically, the only downside I'd say is just like the quality of the material. It just seems very, very thin, and but surprisingly, it's actually comfortable to wear, so that's not too bad. But yeah, design wise, I'm liking the design, but quality wise definitely would like need an upgrade on that sort of thing. But yeah, I could definitely see where people were coming from when they were saying like quality wasn't great on this and it was like paper thin t-shirts. Definitely 100% true on that one, because the t-shirts are not like thick by any means. I mean, this is a white t-shirt, and if you stretch it out, you can definitely see through, and you can see the back side of the print through the back of the t-shirt. I don't know if that's just because it's a white t-shirt, or whether it's white t-shirt and it is quite a thin t-shirt at the same time. So yeah, that's basically the end of this little review segment. So yeah. Okay, so I've taken the t-shirt off right now, and I've got to say, like, taking the t-shirt off after you've had it on for a little bit, like when you first get it on, it does feel a little bit like more comfortable, and whilst you're wearing it, it definitely feels comfortable to wear. But one thing I would say is, because of the thin material, it's definitely not the best quality of material that you could be using for this. It's quite a thin, kind of scratchy material, and it's definitely not like a soft material as well. So like, even like the t-shirt that I'm wearing right now, it's got a very, very soft feel to it, whereas like, even though it's not the best quality of material, it's still kind of thin on this t-shirt, but it is much better quality than this right here. As you can see, like, you can even kind of see through this whole thing. Let me put a light underneath this right here, and let's just throw it on like a low setting right here, and like, as you can see, it's very, very see-through in that sort of sense. As you can see right here, even like with the prints and stuff like that, you can see, I mean, it would be the same with a lot of t-shirts, but it definitely shows off how thin this t-shirt actually is. And I was going to show as well, like here you can see, right here you can see the actual print coming through on this t-shirt. So yeah, I'd definitely say that as a little update on the t-shirt. Then comes the final collection that RNBO ever dropped. Now, to my knowledge, this collection, I believe it's called the Storm Orange collection. I can't really remember what this collection was called, but it had a full-blown advert created for it. It had a bunch of photo shoots done for it, and yeah, a bunch of advertisements. So let's have a little look and see what is actually available in the collection. So you had a crew neck right here, which, as you can see, has the colours of the collection on it. It was mainly branched around this actual logo right here. So you've got the RNBO at the bottom there, and then the little rainbow there at the top, and it was basically present on a lot of the stuff. You had a cap which released with this collection as well, and you had a hoodie right here. The hoodie is very similar to the crew neck, but as you can see on the back here, it has a really cool design on it. Again, I would have gotten this. Like, me nowadays, if something like this came out, I would have definitely gotten it, like 100%. But back then, I couldn't exactly afford to go and buy all of these collections. Now is a little bit of a different story. I could probably afford to get some... Please make sure to like this video and subscribe and share this video around. It all really helps. It goes to a great cause, aka my YouTube AdSense. Come on, this is what we're doing, budget documentaries, and we couldn't actually interview Jake Paul for this episode, so smash us a like on this video and hit that subscribe button so that we can make some more higher production documentaries, because I would definitely love to do that in the future. So yeah, that was the cap, and right here shows the back of the actual, I think it's a long sleeve t-shirt actually. So yeah, that's quite an interesting one. And then we have some really cool promotional photos right here as well. Bunch of promotional stuff, as you can see. This really interesting thing. You've got the Team 10 bike, which actually had the RNBO wrapped as well. So the guy went out and wrapped a dirt bike for this as well. So he's gone out, got a tattoo on his body, wrapped a truck and wrapped a bike for this clothing brand. Again, even more promotional images with this bike as well. And that's where it ends. That was the final collection RNBO ever dropped, and they never dropped another collection ever again. So that just begs the question, what went wrong? Now, we don't really know for sure what actually went wrong with this brand, but I do have some theories of my own on what actually could have happened. So, one thing that could have happened is that they could have just not sold very many. And to be fair, as much hate as Jake Paul got, one thing that I definitely know which happened is that he sold a hell of a lot of merchandise. So I don't think he would have had any issues shifting products from this clothing brand, especially with how big Jake was at this current time, and the fact that he had just taken the big deep dive into boxing. So realistically, this brand should have only gotten bigger with the actual boxing side of things, and would have only really grown over the years with his boxing and how mainstream and well known he got over the next couple of years. So what I think personally happened to this brand was that he simply had too much other things going on. You gotta realise that at the time, this guy was doing a lot of different things. He was building the brand new Team 10 at the time, which ultimately failed. He was currently in the process of, making a potential move to Puerto Rico, which he actually went through with doing a few years after the brand died. He was literally making videos and vlogging, etc., and doing a lot of different video related stuff for his channel, whilst literally trying to take as many new fights as possible so that he could just secure fight after fight after fight after fight and built his boxing resume. So I think on top of doing all this and all of the other things he's doing as well, like boxing bullies and just various other different projects in the works as well. Like you had like Team 10 Uncut, which was a whole project as well, which like dived a little bit more into the behind the scenes on like the business side of running like a content house and all of that kind of stuff. So running a clothing brand on top of that on top of the like merchandise and stuff that he was doing at the time as well, would have been a hell of a lot to do. So personally, I think he just got too busy and ended up abandoning the project and had more passion elsewhere. So yeah, that is what I think happened to RNBO. But wait, I have another announcement for you guys. You have seen the review of the t-shirt, but I may have found something else. And I recorded a clip when I found that something else. Roll the clip.
Oh my god. So, I have just found something right now, and it is literally... This is the second part. So, I've got the t-shirt, and I reviewed it in today's episode, but I just found the hoodie. Yo, I think I've got to buy it. Absolute madness.
So yeah, I found and purchased the hoodie from this same original drop. And in part 3 of this documentary, I am going to be reviewing this hoodie as an exclusive on this YouTube channel. And exclusively in episode 3 as well, I'm going to be going to somebody who has never ever heard of this brand before, my girlfriend, and actually asking for her honest opinion on the clothing products themselves. And on top of that as well, we're going to be diving into the redemption arc of Jake Paul and how he redeemed himself from this daily vlogger slash Disney Channel star, or should I say ex-Disney Channel star, because he left that to become a daily vlogger on YouTube, to becoming one of the highest paid athletes in history, taking fights, making tens of millions of dollars, right up to where he is currently. So yeah, all that and more for the third and final episode of this documentary series.
So, as you can see right here, we have the hoodie, which came in a pretty basic bag right here. Inside, we have the hoodie. Let's go.
England is my city.